You mentioned the budget, heading back to surplus. There's a couple of projects that I've been following for a while, the Australia Forum and the potential stadium. Maybe that gives more headroom for those projects. Have you got any sense of where that might be heading?
Sure. Well, look, yes, the opportunity is there for us in the next decade, in the 2020s, to make some of these, I guess you'd describe in the context of our budget as quite lumpy public infrastructure investments. They are significant, and at the time of the full impact of the Mr Fluffy crisis, we had to take $1 billion loan from the Commonwealth. Put some context around that, effectively saw the Territory's debt increase from $2 billion to $3 billion, so it was a significant impact. The net cost of that property buyback and asbestos eradication scheme is looking like landing at more like $300 million now rather than $400 million. Gives us a little bit more capacity to look at our forward infrastructure program and to look at innovative ways to deliver some of this significant public infrastructure. I'd note that our big commitment in this term clearly relates to transport, but we did also indicate that by 2020 we wanted to be in a position to make an investment decision on a new theatre for Canberra. And that is the project of the big three: stadium, convention centre and theatre. The theatre project is the one that we would proceed with first in the context both of the scale of the investment and the level of preparatory work that's been undertaken.
Sorry,
Thank you, Chief Minister. Susan Hennier from ACT Council of Social Service. I was interested in you bringing together an analysis of both how a city can combine economic growth and social progress. So I'm just interested in your comments about how a government can get through an argument around social infrastructure investment as well as investment in the hard infrastructure that makes a city work.
I think depending on the audiences, and it can be quite an easy discussion, and some people sort of intuitively understand the need for to go hand in hand in a debate about where we are heading as a community, and as I guess where this city, with its national capital status, can take a leadership role. I think there are ample opportunities for the ACT government to lead by example. There are ample opportunities for the ACT government to be able to partner with community organisations, with business, to demonstrate, in areas as diverse as social enterprise, through to policies that ensure that, for example, our public services and community service delivery are reflective of the diversity of our community, both in terms of the people who are employed to undertake those activities, but also the types of services that are provided. And we have that opportunity in such a diverse city, but though where the scale of service delivery is at a human level. We are, as both a state and local government in a city of 410,000 people, close enough to be able to know and work closely with the people whose lives we want to improve and the people who we're working with and partnering with to deliver the improvement in people's lives. And that is quite a contrast from working at the federal level or indeed in some of the bigger jurisdictions. And it's a very common observation that people who have worked in the Commonwealth Public Service who come to work in the ACT government say that one of the most rewarding aspects of their work in the ACT Public Service is how quickly a good policy idea can be implemented and how they practically see the benefits of that implementation. And that is often not the case at a federal level, where even a tweak of the policy screwdriver can see, it takes a very long time for it to have an impact in some remote parts of Australia or in areas where the ship of state turns incredibly slowly. The other observation I'd make is that just as I observed sitting around the COAG table, it is remarkable how often ministers and bureaucrats churn. And this came up in the Closing the Gap discussion. Tom Calmer made this point that he's been there for 10 years, but he's dealing, he's had 17 Indigenous Affairs ministers, he's had any number of changes in government structures, the agencies moving into and out of Prime Minister and Cabinet. There's been all of this change over the 10 years, and the only thing that's been constant has been he and a number of Indigenous leaders making very similar points over that journey. So I see it as a real opportunity for us, and it's a point of difference. It's how we can attract and retain great staff within the ACT Public Service and the community sector, is that you can see the real difference that we make. But at times it's difficult to have that, I guess people have that understanding if they come from a larger city or they're very focused on national or international matters. But we try, and today's a great opportunity to further, I guess, flesh out that agenda for the Territory Government.
Thanks, Chief Minister. I think that's all
That's
we
it,
have
sure,
time
no worries.
for.